main GC group, and that's probably why David Lopez was given his own opportunity to try and do something in this climb. But obviously he's back in the fold now. So as we said, a lot of these teams, these are three of the teams we've already mentioned that haven't really had too much to shout about in this race. But just look who's coming up behind Jarlis and Pantano.
Well, that is interesting, because Pantano's just 52 seconds max, so this is starting to get a little bit of a concern for the overall race leader. Lopez responds, goes out of the group. Is anyone going to be able to follow him? And that is significant. Attack being the best form of defence.
Yeah, big acceleration, and he does look good. He's coming across this gap very quickly. He wanted to react, but did he have to react?
Is that impetuous from the young man heading towards what could be a first national stage race victory of his career? Of course, he has taken Tour de l'Avenir, so he knows how to win a big development race. This another level up again. It's a World Tour event, and Lopez has decided that he is attack minded. That is a surprise, but it is exciting as he catches and overtakes Hubert Dupont. Very shortly we'll be joining up with Pantano, Costa and Spilak. Dupont gets the extra impetus, and very shortly we could have five up front, including the yellow jersey of overall race leader Lopez. Will these riders ride with him? And TJ Van Garderen has responded.
Yeah, it's people are showing their cards. People are just sitting back and waiting. Movistar are just sitting there with Jon Izagirre. TJ comes up, and yes, all starting to happen. It's still a good 4 kilometres left of this climb, so with the Lopez shutting things down, he definitely is isolated with TJ Van Garderen just passing Dupont now and coming up to the yellow jersey group.
Yeah, Dupont is struggling. I don't think he's going to be able to follow this pace, but Lopez finds himself on the front, setting the agenda, setting the tempo, trying to put more time between himself and Andrew Talansky. Could it be that Talansky's struggling a little bit, or Cannondale playing their cards a little closer to their chest and maybe just a little bit more sensible about it? This is the way it's playing out on the final hill of the Tour de Suisse, and it is absolutely fascinating fare. That's something we didn't expect to see.
Yeah, the other rider that hasn't come into play yet is Warren Barguil of Giant Alpecin, so he's just kind of sitting there waiting, or does he have sore legs? Very difficult with these mountain stages, and then obviously having a time trial yesterday. Hopefully we can try and pick these riders up, but Movistar riding there. Dombrovskis in second place, Talansky's there, Warren Barguil's there, Jon Izagirre is sitting there. I think this is Winner Anacona at the front. Zap Paterski, Cheslik, and then you've got some riders just trying to get in there. So some riders have disappeared noticeably from the top 10 is Geraint Thomas. So Janetsky is there, and there could be some movements. It's just disappointing that Geraint has battled, but today in this very short stage he's nowhere to be seen.
Disappointing too for Wilco Kelderman, sitting 6th overall at 1 minute and 21 seconds. The Lotto NL Jumbo man, erstwhile race leader, is dropping out of the back of that group. Lopez looking nervously behind him. He's clearly full of fight. He's got great legs this week, but does he want to commit with still several kilometres to go to the top of this hill? So about 3.4 kilometres by my reckoning, so still 3,400 metres of tough climbing action. That's a long, long way. When you're on a climb like this, Rui Costa's feeling the heat. Feeling the heat on a very cold mountain. Spilak too, at a pace that Lopez finds more comfortable than them. Behind, Winner Anacona, looking after the tempo, and it looks like he's closing this one at a sensible, gradual rate for the riders chasing. Sander Armé is out the back for Lotto Soudal, and so too Hubert Dupont of AG Tour Le Mondial, who was up the road not so long ago.
So as we look at the top 10, Lopez, Talansky, Jon Izagirre, Warren Barguil, Pantano are all there. Kelderman in 6th place, he's disappeared. Van Garderen's there. 8th place, Geraint Thomas has disappeared. Spilak is there. So Rui Costa rounds out the top 10. So 8 of the 10 top 10 overnights are still in this race, still in with a battle. But Lopez certainly riding at the front with Pantano and TJ Van Garderen, and looks very good at this moment.
Well, no great rain as we get closer to the summit, but just starting to see little spots of rain on the lens, so clearly it's pretty cold up there. Lopez though stomping away on the pedals, Van Garderen is equal to the challenge at the moment. Jarlinson Panzano is hunched over his bars. Looks like he needs a little bit of extra concentration. Behind, at a distance now, Rui Costa. A little bit further behind him, Simon Spilak has been dragged back by the Cannondale and Movistar-led group. A shake of the head from Van Garderen. No, I'm not going to help you.
Well, he doesn't have to. You know, it's the yellow jersey in the leading group, and TJ is thinking, well, I'm not going to take any time back. He's 1 minute and 26 seconds behind him. He cannot, I don't think, possibly take that amount of time back. So he's just shaking the head. He's just happy to be there. He'll keep a good position in the overall, but I think TJ is thinking of a possible stage win here.
We're on the epically beautiful Fluela Pass. This road dates back since 1867. We've had various different pass roads across here since 2000 BC. Would you believe signs of Bronze Age archaeology have been discovered in this region? As after all the shake of the heads, then Van Garderen goes to the front.
Yeah, because it settled down. It was difficult when Lopez was riding there. It was a little bit difficult, and he wasn't going to push it on. When it gets a little bit easier, like it is at the moment, he'll do his turn. But you know, former yellow jersey Warren Barguil, you know, difficult time trial yesterday, lost a lot of time. Looks to be grimacing now and kind of hanging on to this kind of chase group. You know, difficult again for, you know, all these riders here is that Dabrowski, you know, has to do a long turn. You can just see Rui Costa, the Portuguese champion for Lampre, just kind of hanging in between the three in front. But this is a difficult time now for some of the GC contenders, especially Talansky and Jon Izagirre, and if they want to try and win this race, they have to show the cards soon.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything from Andrew Talansky. Maybe it's just that the tempo is that much higher than he really feels comfortable with. He may not just have the legs to attack if it's possible. Well, he knows he needs to do it pretty soon, because 17.7 will be the summit of the climb. Talansky sitting third in line, the smaller of the two figures in green. He is second placed overall, 8 seconds back from Miguel Angel Lopez, the yellow jersey of this race, who's up the road now with almost 20 seconds of an advantage. That's the first unsealed road we've seen all week. That is could well be a little bit of a nervous moment, because it's not going to be easy to get service up here if you do pick up a puncture. 17 seconds, it starts to close. Warren Barguil is feeling the pinch. Yep, it looks like he's really suffered after that big effort to get into the yellow jersey a couple of days ago.
It looks like Winner Anacona and Dombrowski at the front of this chase group, trying to, you know, limit the time. 18 seconds now that Lopez has. So it's sometimes very difficult to cross, you know, an unsurfaced road, and you know, it kind of knocks you off your rhythm a bit. And certainly this has happened with Simon Spilak.
Well, Simon Spilak feeling perhaps the folly of that early attack has been dropped by the group who caught him. So now. Just has to get to the top of the hill as best he can, and hope that he's within touching distance. Perhaps he can get back on terms on the descent.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at the moment. I know that Chernetsky is you know, possibly moving into the top 10. That's the rider third from the back in the Katusha team. But I would think that maybe you know, you would think about maybe kind of dropping back a little bit and helping. But the team orders are team orders, and Chernetsky's sitting at 11th. It does look as if he is moving up in the general classification today.
Yeah, and interesting that Simon Spilak, did he give him the nod and say, off you go? Is Chernetsky just making a solo decision on that one? Andrew Talansky, we look at his face, he really looks to be suffering, but that is kind of his default look, isn't it? Sometimes he looks even better. Now, what about Miguel Angel Lopez? He's gone on the attack. He's distancing himself now from Jarlinson Panzano. TJ Van Garderen in the red of BMC, who's been in flying form this week with a stage victory, but Van Garderen cannot follow the pace of the yellow jersey, who, the way things are going, is going to crest the climb, racing solo to victory, and this is not expected. But Lopez, what an emerging talent he is, what such confidence, clearly in flying form and just getting better.
Yeah, I think that's the word there, getting better. Everybody else is getting tired on tire, he's getting better. very good last few days for this rider, and he decided when he came up and he attacked in this climb that maybe going a little bit too early. He's got absolutely no teammates around about to help him, but sometimes the best defence is attack, and he's certainly doing this now. And Dombrowski is having to ride his heart out yet again for Talansky. No reaction from anybody, but if they want to try and win this race, they have to bring this yellow jersey back before the top of this climb.
Solid job from Joe Dombrowski. His fellow countryman and teammate Andrew Talansky suffering in third place in that group. Now we have the leader of the stage, the leader of the race overall, Lopez, well inside the final kilometre, well just about a kilometre to the summit of this hill, the Fluella Pass. TJ Van Garderen and Jarlinson Pantano getting a little bit concerned now. Through the gloom they see the yellow jersey disappearing up the road. Well, Lopez heading towards victory in this race, and how dearly he would like a stage win to go with it. It's been very consistent this week. A stage win would be nice.
Yes, he would love a stage win, and to finish it off. Still a long way to go, and we're very close inside the last kilometre to the top of this climb. No reaction from anybody else. TJ Van Garderen and Pantano just trying to kind of hang on. If they can get onto the descent, the two of them could possibly come back to Lopez, but the further up this climb he gets, the bigger the time gaps. Back to 34 seconds to the group led by Dombrowski for Talansky.
Well, Lopez could, of course, be mindful of the fact that, as you mentioned earlier, Brian, there's just 8 seconds between himself and Talansky and 10 seconds on the line. We could well have a sprint for victory on the stage between a group of non-sprinters, so Talansky would have an opportunity still.
Well, if it all comes back together, there's going to be 12 riders in this group. I don't think Spilak can make it back, so there's 9 in the group of Talansky, 2 riders here and 1 in front, so 12 riders in contention for the stage. If it does come back together, then if Talansky does win the group sprints and he could take it off. So that's why Lopez, a non-sprinter, has gone out there, has decided to take it from the front. He's within sight of the top of this climb, just about 1 kilometre now. So he wants to crest the summit, get on this tricky descent. But what is Pantano and TJ Van Garderen got left? Because they could possibly try and come back. And a stage win is up for grabs for any of these riders now. Well,
they're feeling pretty warm, but how are they going to feel in a couple of kilometres down when they're well into the descent, and it's gravity taking them down the hill as Van Garderen decides not to take on any extra rainwear. Of course, the likelihood is that within a couple of kilometres, they'll be back out of the rain and into better conditions as they go down the hill, so that's what they've got to hope for. Not too many riders with long finger gloves. Miguel Angel Lopez at the front of the race, 25 seconds now, his advantage, a further 13 seconds back to the group containing the second place man in this race, Andrew Talansky. Lopez not even requiring the top sprocket on his block.
There's just no stopping this man. He looks really easy. Of all the GC contenders, or of everybody in the front of this race, he looks so easy. He just has to be careful on this tricky descent. Because his gap is going up and all the time, and I think it's going to be very difficult to bring him back now, because you've got to remember the riders in this group now will start to think of their second and third place, the podium place, and so I think Lopez is showing a clear pair of wheels to everybody, and everybody knows he's the strongest in the day. He's just getting stronger and stronger over the last few days, that they'll start to think now of how can I finish second and third in this race.
Bit of a dangerous moment there for Warren Barguil, sitting 4th overall as he finds himself on the wheel of Pavel Cislek, and Cislek seems to be suffering a little bit, so a few little cracks starting to appear in that group as we approach the summit of the climb. Yon Izagirre as well is now going to make his way over to TJ Van Garderen and Jarlinson Pantano, so now just Lopez out front and then the rest of the group behind. At a remove of 45 seconds as he reaches the summit of the climb. It is your overall race leader, Miguel Angel Lopez, has taken on a rain jacket to put on over that yellow jersey, and it's now revised. 35 seconds to the next riders behind. Group of 4 riders.
Interesting, Declan. Victor de la Part has come across here for CCC. So is Yon Izagirre, and if he can descend like his brother the other day, then you know, there's still an opportunity for these riders to come back to Lopez. But just as I say that, Dombrowski's putting a hell of a ride in there for his team leader Talansky to keep him in contention.
He certainly is. The green of Cannondale to the fore. Izagirre now having gone up the road a little bit. That means that no assistance from winner Anacona. He's been doing a really solid job as well for Team Movistar. Bargui tries to get himself organised for the descent, finds himself a few bike lengths back, should be able to close that one. Lopez racing solo to glory, racing down the hill to Davos clusters. He's got about 13 kilometres of descending and then just over 4 kilometres of flat road through to the finish. They hit a railway crossing with 4.4 kilometres to go, so let's hope the express train to Zurich isn't making its appearance at that stage, as we lose the picture, albeit briefly. The group behind now, are they going to be able to close just over half a minute gap to Miguel Angel Lopez?
Well, it depends if Lopez wants to take any risks, because it is a very tricky descent, especially the top third on this side now. So, but there seems to be a bit more of a general regroupment now. Talansky doesn't seem to be liking this descent. Ray Costa wants to obviously come across to this front group. Potentially he is a fast enough sprinter that if it does come back together, there's a stage winner for grabs. But Lopez just has to be very aware. He can't take any risks in on these corners, because if he slides out, he'll be caught by the chasing group.
So he's able to pick his own line around the corners. I suppose in another way, nobody's marking the road for him, picking out the lines for him. So he's got to be careful. He's also got to be committed. It's a confusing combination for Miguel Angel Lopez. He's racing to glory, and he's got a lot. He's got a lot to be hopeful for. He's got a lot to race for, hasn't he? 45 seconds back, so 15 seconds now between the Izagirre group and the group of Andrew Talansky. Izagirre with an opportunity to move up into second place overall. There are 8 seconds between himself and Izagirre. 8 seconds down, Andrew Talansky starting the day from Miguel Angel Lopez. Izagirre 16 seconds back. Warren Bargui has just about managed to latch onto the back of the Talansky group. He's 18 seconds back. And then Pantano at 52. Kelderman is gone from this group. 1 minute and 21 seconds down. And there's the confirmation of the final mountains points of the year, with Miguel Angel Lopez taking the top points, as befits the man who is in the yellow jersey and has been climbing with such great ease over the last couple of days, particularly this afternoon in the rain, racing down to Davos. There's your yellow jersey, this one on underneath that rain jacket. I can tell you it is dry and it is sunny at the finish line in Davos, so at some stage they are going to emerge out of the mist. How much of this descent is going to be on dry roads? Doesn't look like much of it. Delapart not enjoying the descent too much.
No, there'll be a lot of riders not enjoying the descent, but the riders in front are racing for podium places. It's going to be touch and go whether they actually bring back Lopez. Still some tricky corners to come, but Lopez seems to be kind of holding them at bay. They've only knocked off about 3 or 4 seconds from the top of the climb.
Yeah, so just inside a half a minute advantage now for Miguel Angel Lopez and the group of Jon Izagirre, 3 riders. Johnson Pantano is in there as well, so too is TJ Van Garderen. And Chernetsky for Team Katusha, with Victor Delapart finding himself just a couple of seconds from the back. The CCC Sprande Polkovica man who won the Tour of Austria in 2015. Not able to take an apex there, and losing another second or two with every hairpin that's presented to him. Still though, he's managing to hold off the riders behind. Big opportunity here for Izagirre to move up.
Also Pantano can move up for IAM, and what a wonderful result that would be for the local team. So Pantano has got a possibility of moving up here, but he really needs to, these gaps to open a little bit wider now.
TJ Van Garderen as well, started the day 7th overall, so an opportunity to move up to 6th. Wilco Kelderman distanced on the climb at 11 here, as we said, back in 2014. Stage win of Vuelta Burgos in Chickens. They're starting to close it down, so Lopez not taking any huge risks. And the group of Izagirre starting to open up a bit more of an advantage over the 26 seconds, 27 seconds now between themselves and the Talansky group chasing.
Well, TJ's doing a big turn now in this descent, obviously feeling a bit better than the top of the climb when he was distanced, and TJ thinking of another stage win. He's already got one to his name in this year's Tour de Suisse. Pantano will help as well, because he's moving up in the general classification beyond Izagiri, and I think he's looking to keep a hold of or get into second place overall. So all of these will ride. I think it looks like Rui Costa is coming up to possibly join them as well.
Rui Costa, 3 times winner, is still in with a shout of a stage victory this year. If he can get back up to that group, and then they in turn can make the junction with the race leaders. Lost a little bit of his advantage as they hit a flatter road. Starts to pedal. He finds now inside 20 seconds to the Izagirre group as Lopez really piles it on and realises that well, he's in a solo time trial fight to the line. 2 bottles on board. I did say it was a 1 bottle day. These riders in the habit of hydrating even on a wet day. So just over 10 kilometers remaining in the Tour de Suisse of 2016, with your overall race leader Miguel Angel Lopez of Team Astana and Colombia racing to glory. But can he hang on ahead of this group of riders led by TJ Van Garderen? Started the day 7th overall. Just behind him on his wheel, Jarlinson Pantano started the day 5th. Jon Izagirre, who started the day 3rd and is set to move up, as indeed is the 4th member of this group, Chernetsky of Team Katusha, who was 13th at the outset of today's activities. And Rui Costa is trying to get across as well. Behind, where is Andrew Talansky? He had Joe Dombrowski for company when they started this descent. It's Bargui with Rui Costas. That's a fantastic effort from Warren Bargui. Really looked to be suffering on that climb, but what a brave descent.
I tell you what, he's bounced back. Delapart has been distanced in this descent. He rode a great mountain, and he's just not got it when it comes down to this tricky descent. But just moving back now to see where Talansky, and there's Dombrowski and Talansky. And Talansky's having to ride. He's going to have to ride all the way in the last 10 kilometres now, because he is drifting out the top 3 now. 2 up time trial for the Cannondale men. They've got to get back on terms, or he's going to lose a very strong finish in a World Tour stage race, a national stage race, the longest outside of the Grand Tours, at 9 days of racing in total. As we survey the scene in the group chasing behind, with this is Chislek on the front, Verva Active Jet, and all those riders are riding. And all of his names, of course, it's Pantano. It's the 2nd group on the road. Izagirre, everybody riding. Now Talansky with Dombrowski on the front. Talansky at the back with his rain jacket. The man sitting in 2nd place has been supported so well by Joe Dombrowski over the week. Now TJ Van Garderen pushing hard to try and close that gap. The race leader has been dragged back, so now we have a group of 5 up front. Inside 8 kilometers to go. Yeah, I don't think the bonuses will come into play now. There's enough time between most of these riders, but they're all committed. TJ, Pantano, Jon Izagirre, the race leaders there, Chernetsky, they're all moving up in the general classification, but it's still a stage win, and Pantano would love to win this for IAM, the team that bases itself here in Switzerland. But the race isn't over yet, because I think the GC's pretty much been wrapped up by Lopez here, because the only person I think could have challenged him closely, he looks so strong at the moment, would have been Talansky, but Talansky's losing out today. He started the day in 2nd place at 8 seconds. I can't see him staying on the podium today, but can Warren Bargui and Rui Costa make it up here? And if they do, you would think that Rui Costa would be one of the favourites for a stage win here, but it's going to be flat out racing from all 5 of these riders. Chernetsky is the only rider that's going to sit here, and can he give Katusha the stage win that they've been trying for all week?
Yeah, well, Chernetsky's set to move up. Interesting that Lopez is still minded to ride. He certainly wouldn't be expected to, as the yellow jersey. being caught by this group. Still wants to charge on to put Andrew Talansky as far behind him as possible.
I think so, because 10, 6 and 4 on the finishing line. If Talansky comes back here, you never know. I know there are other faster riders, but if Talansky was to win the stage and Lopez outside the top 3, then Tour de Suisse would be his. But I can't see that happening now, and it's Lopez's best interest. Jon Izagirre moving up into second place. Pantano obviously moving up. He needs a little bit more time, but I think Warren Barguil and Rui Costa, it would be nice to know what time gap back to the two riders, because Warren Barguil is hanging on by his fingertips to a possible podium place here in Tour de Suisse.
So pretty much on the bottom of the hill now as Jarlinson Pantano takes the group ahead and racing in towards Davos with Jon Izagirre across the railway crossing very shortly. Jon Izagirre goes to the front. Is he moving up into second place overall? TJ Van Garderen in the red of BMC, already a stage win. Can he make it a double? Sergei Chenetsky is sitting at the back in the red of Katusha, and that would be a fabulous achievement, and he's going to roll the dice and see if the group will tow him to glory. Will he be able to produce the sprint at the back end? Chenetsky with a big opportunity on the front in the red of the BMC squad, local sponsored team, and from the United States, looking for a double stage success. Jon Izagirre is looking for a double as well. Superb time trial performance. Can he win a mountain stage, albeit an extremely short one? But this is a World Tour bike race, and these are big points on offer.
Just saying there, they just pulled out the car there, and a couple of riders just looked back. I think Rui Costa and Warren Barguil are getting very, very close, and Warren Barguil is going to tow Rui Costa as much as he can, because he's fighting to keep that or to go onto the podium, while Rui Costa can afford to help him a little bit, but keep a little bit back just in case Warren Barguil tows him up to this leading group. Potentially Rui Costa could be possibly winning the stage, but they have to get there first, that's the thing, and Rui Costa can't afford to wait behind.
Well, now they're starting to jockey for position a little bit. Jarlinson Pantano finds himself with a few bike lengths of an advantage. It's Izagirre that's going to close the gap. Lopez is on the wheel of the Spaniard, and TJ Van Garderen and Sergei Chenetsky find themselves with a little bit of work to do. Chenetsky doesn't want to have to close the gap, but Van Garderen is going to make him, I think. Izagirre goes again and catches Pantano. So the group has split. Will Van Garderen be able to get back on terms? So the first skirmishing beginning with just 3 kilometres remaining in this year's Tour de Suisse. Will Warren Barguil be able to get back on terms? That little flurry of attacks won't have done him any favours. Will they stall now?
Well, that's the thing, they have to keep on riding, because the riders behind will pounce very, very quickly. They are still thinking the stage winner. It does look as if Jon Izagirre is doing what he wants to do. He wants to keep the pace high. He wants to make sure he gets that second place. Pantano wants to ride as well, because he needs as much time as possible, because Warren Barguil is just sitting behind, and he'll be taking that potential podium place that Pantano thought he might have had a chance of getting on today.
Every time Pantano goes to the front of the group, he opens up a few bike lengths advantage. Izagirre is still riding, and that is a difficulty for Rui Costa, and Warren Barguil behind. Rui Costa certainly is giving him a turn, and has he managed to no, the two of them still together, and Rui Costa on the front, Warren Barguil, and he within 10 seconds now of the leaders, but just 2 and a bit kilometres remaining. Barguil back to the front. They can see them, they can sense them. A couple of cars in between, they'll pull those out as Warren Barguil tries to get back on terms. The road rising just ever so slightly, and TJ Van Garderen on the front.
Well, how much have they got left? As Rui Costa plays smart. He is a very good finisher, but Chenetsky has just been sitting on the tail of these 5 riders and waiting to pounce.
It's a canny ride by the Katusha man, who is giving himself the best shot at a famous stage success, and a great addition to his pal Mars as TJ Van Garderen just slots in behind. 4 of these 5 riders are contributing, but they find their advantage now down to single figures in terms of seconds, less than 10 seconds now to those 2 riders behind. Barguil gives a big effort to try and get back on terms.
I think this effort now by Jon Izagirre means that I don't think it's now possible that Rui Costa and Barguil are going to make it now. Even if they do make it now, they're going to be very, very tired. So Jon Izagirre is just setting a hard enough tempo, setting someone else up for for a stage win here, because all he's interested in is making sure he gets second overall.
And where is Andrew Talansky? Further back, and perhaps being distanced and losing out on a podium finish in a World Tour stage race, a national stage race. The Tour de Suisse, a little bit of a benefit from the wind, and they'll go down to a couple of hairpins inside the final kilometre, and that will mean that they'll be heading into a bit of a headwind, and the backstage will get full notion of that very shortly as Izagirre leads them through this left-hander. Under the kite, less than a kilometre remaining in the final stage of the Tour of Switzerland. Care to call it?
Well, I think Czernetski's been sitting there at the rear of this group, and I think he is the favourite to win this stage.
Well, here comes the jump from TJ Van Garderen. Izagirre is alive to that one, and Van Garderen has to tuck back in. I think maybe he was thinking about it, but didn't quite get there. Warren Barguil and Rui Costa are still trying to chase, but it's 5 riders that are going to contest this stage victory. That would appear to be the case. Czernetski still sitting at the back. How much energy has he been able to save? Jarlinson Pantano's been working hard just in front of him. TJ Van Garderen from BMC is in the middle of the group. The overall race leader, Miguel Angel Lopez, is racing to glory. Can it be stage success as well? Izagirre has been doing most of the work. Will he have anything left for a finishing sprint? Seems unlikely at the moment. Lopez is sitting second in line as we're inside the final few hundred metres. Czernetski's going to launch from the back. Pantano goes first. Will Czernetski be able to get around him? It's Pantano going for glory in Davos this afternoon. Jarlinson Pantano with Czernetski behind him inside the final 50 metres. Here comes Czernetski around. Will he get there in time? Oh, I don't think he's going to make it, because Jarlinson Pantano has taken the final stage success in the Tour of Switzerland 2016, the win that he so dearly wanted. It's another great success for Colombia. It's a great success for Miguel Angel Lopez, because he's confirmed as the overall race winner. But what about that for a wonderful sprint success from Jarlinson Pantano? Well, he can barely believe it.
What a fairy tale ending it was for Pantano there, taking the stage win, and well deserved. He rode a very good stage, and I tell you what, with Matthias Frank, and the congratulations from the two Colombians there, Lopez and Pantano. What a well-deserved victory, and it'll be really happy camp for the IAM riders.
Well, here comes Andrew Talansky, and it's been a disappointing day for him, because he's going to slip out of the podium position. A brave defence, but unfortunately just coming up a little bit short, and almost a minute between himself and the group up front, as Pantano continues to celebrate, and so much appreciation for him from the other riders in the race. One of the first over to congratulate him, Miguel Angel Lopez, not too far behind him. Warren Barguil raced so bravely to get back on terms, just couldn't quite make it. And Pantano is absolutely...
He came here as a support rider for Matthias Frank. Matthias Frank climbed off. He stepped up, and he has really stepped up, and onto the world stage. We all knew he was a good rider. He just held off Czernetski. I thought Czernetski might have had the legs, but he left it too late. 25 metres to go. Never had the legs to come round. Pantano wins the final stage here in the Tour de Suisse, and well deserved at that. Just look at the back there of Rui Costa and Barguil. Just got on just as the sprint started.
Just a little too late for those two riders. They'll be given the same time as the winner, but then about that man that gets the win, Jarlinson Pantano, makes it 5 Colombians that have tasted victory in stage success in the Tour of Switzerland, with Miguel Angel Lopez. No stage win for him, but he becomes the first Colombian to take the overall win in the Tour of Switzerland. Jarlinson Pantano from the local team, IAM Cycling. What a popular win that is in Colombia and also in Switzerland, and this team is due to shut its doors at the end of the year unless something changes radically in the next few weeks.
Well, before this race, Colombia had 3 stage wins in the history of the Tour de Suisse, and this year Pantano's just made that 5 now, so they've had 2 with Acapulco and Lopez there, Pantano, but with Lopez winning the overall, it's been a great Tour de Suisse for the Colombians.
Riders will be coming in 2s and 3s, short stage, but that big climb really splitting the field up. What a day we've had, what a week we've had. 9 tough days of racing, the weather really playing its part in redesigning the course today as well. There is the confirmation of the finishing order at the end of the 9th stage, with Pantano getting the sprint success ahead of Sergei Chernetsky. Jan Izagirre, great work, third on the day. Miguel Angel Lopez will take the overall victory from 4th on the stage ahead of Van Garderen, Rui Costa, Warren Barguil, Talansky, Victor Delaparte and Joe Dombrowski gets a top 10 finish after his sterling efforts. And let's have a look behind as Jonathan Pantano opened the sprint, and fortune favoured the brave on that occasion.
He did. He went with about 200 metres to go now, just 250 to go. Chernetsky decided to try and get in the slipstream, but I just think Pantano wanted it more. You know, he really gave it absolutely everything. Chernetsky thought he maybe can buy him, but didn't have the legs in the end after sitting on and, you know, trying to get that stage win for Couture.